I'm Larry Berkelhammer, and I'm here with Dr. Erik Peper, a world-renowned authority in psychophysiological self-regulation. Welcome.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
I would like to ask you about something that I've always been intrigued by, called Tumo, or Tumo. I've seen on video monks that have sheets put in buckets of ice water, and then they wrap their naked bodies around these sheets, and they're in a room that's unheated in sub-zero temperatures, and I've actually seen the steam rising and the sheets getting dry. And then I actually heard that you've done this. I've personally done this.
Well, I haven't quite done it to that extreme. Tumo breathing, or that whole process, it's often associated with Tibetan Buddhist practices, I think. And was also, I think, documented by Herbert Benson as one of the people who did this. Is a practice by which, what you said, somehow you can, for either short or a long time, nobody knows really, you can, as if you can warm yourself up more or increase your metabolic rate so you can dry or withstand cool temperatures. My only experience of that was for one whole summer. I did about 10 hours a day for about 6 weeks in Berkeley with the Nyingma Institute with Tarvan Tulku. We had a program in the early 70s where he taught psychologists about these kind of Buddhist practices. And I remember one day we did this, or a couple of days, we did this kind of Tumo breathing. And Berkeley, as some of people don't know, in California can be quite cold in the summer because the fog comes in, and this is in a building which wasn't really heated. The room was really cold. And we then sat basically in meditative practices, and then we did this kind of Tumo.
What were you wearing?
Basically, initially you wear a sweater and all that stuff, and then we started to do Tumo breathing, which you would say is a very slow breathing, maybe one breath or less a minute. And then you really almost compress and press down, and you do some imagery. And what was so interesting, when you do this for a little while, you really get hot, and then you take your sweater off, you start perspiring, and the room is really cool. It was like in the 50s probably, or maybe low 60s, who knows. It's mind-boggling how hot you got. And
you got warm just talking about it.
You really got hot if you do this. It's almost like, you could say it feels subjectively for Western concepts like a modified Valsalva procedure you're doing the whole time.
Valsalva is a bearing down procedure.
And you could probably say you're increasing your PCO2 massively in the bloodstream, which is associated probably in
partial CO2 pressure.
Yes, and that probably causes blood vessels to dilate more, because we know that when the carbon dioxide dissolves in the bloodstream and you hyperventilate, breathe quickly, the opposite happens. The blood vessels often constrict and you feel cooler. So it may be part of that process, and in Tibetan Buddhism you would also use imagery. But if you did it for a long enough time, it was truly remarkable.
Is there any benefit to this beyond, I mean, I think the monks are doing it, why do they do it? Why does anyone do Tumo?
I don't know the answer. I mean, I would say the same question you could ask is, why did Jack Swartz stick a rusty sailmaker's needle through his biceps, or why did Kawakami from Japan stick a skewer through his tongue and cheeks? Why did they do this? For me, as I asked them that question, it makes sense to me. It is really for them to know, not believe, that they have some voluntary control. You see, it's only by having done this can you show your own cognitive mastery. You can say, I believe I can hold my attention.
It's not the same as knowing. Knowing comes from doing.
That's right. And the other part in the Buddhist traditions, I would say that as you develop consciousness, you develop all these skills and masteries, including healing skills. The key is not to stay there, because the real purpose, in a sense, in the Buddhist perspective, right, is to allow every sensate being to not suffer, to bring them forth. So you don't just stay in your area of ego, which is this mastery. This is just an attainment in the step of consciousness.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.